Welcome to the latest product update from ZPE Systems. As part of this video, I'm going to take a closer look at mixed management infrastructure environments and why an isolated management infrastructure is so important in today's enterprise environments. We're going to take a look at enhancements which we introduced into our products, including time-based authentication protocols and many other features, as well as two brand new appliances which enable customers to fully embrace an isolated management infrastructure and its multiple applications. Before we start looking at the isolated management infrastructure, let's better understand what many enterprises today are using to manage their infrastructure. Administrators, either on-site or in remote locations, typically require some connection to a bastion host that can be established through a VPN or through an internal connection directly to that bastion host. Through this bastion host, then they typically gain management access to the firewalls, routers, servers, or the rest of the infrastructure. The challenge with that model is that the network connectivity typically is run over a shared medium, which provides little to no separation, and ultimately that ends up in not providing a dedicated management and control plane. So any change which affects the production network can directly impact the control or management network as well, limiting the recovery options, leaving very little room for errors, and provides very limited visibility. Ultimately, enterprises are increasing the vulnerability to outages and security incidents. Over the last couple of months and years, the industry has recognized that they have to address those shortcomings of the mixed management infrastructure. The solution they came up with is the isolated management infrastructure, which is now recognized as an industry best practice. So what is an isolated management infrastructure, or IMI? At the core, it is a fully isolated management infrastructure, starting at the physical layer with dedicated physical hardware appliances which provide Ethernet connectivity, out-of-band connectivity, WAN connectivity, security automation, and your jump box capabilities, as well as everything else you would typically have in a management environment to provide all the services you need to manage your production infrastructure. The advantage of implementing this fully separate environment to enterprises is that they gain a dedicated management and control plane, which is fully independent from the rest of their environment. That increases their recovery option in case of an outage or in case of a security incident. Overall, reducing the time to restore services, improving visibility, improving security, and improving operational efficiencies. We at ZPE Systems have worked for the last couple of years to provide our customers with an isolated management infrastructure. We are the only vendor who can provide a Generation 3 out-of-band solution, provide a full out-of-band WAN and security stack, provide the platform and the tools required to manage your entire production network, and provide you with a management solution which can either be deployed on-prem or can be consumed as a SaaS service. So, why am I talking so much about the isolated management infrastructure? The reason for it, at the core of this infrastructure, is a fully dedicated, isolated environment, which must be secured. Because it has access to all of your management interfaces, it has to be one of the most secure environments which an enterprise deploys. To provide this to our customers, we at ZPE Systems consistently look for ways to improve the security in our product stack. For that, we typically focus on 5 key areas. The first one is a hardware layer. That encompasses all of our hardware appliances and all the security which goes into the production of the hardware, as well as a hardware layer security features which we can provide to our customers. In the second layer, I'll be focusing on industry best practices around security in software development as part of our software development lifecycle. We are utilizing many different tools and processes and procedures internally to ensure the highest quality of security. This was recognized and validated by Synopsys as well. In the third layer, we are primarily looking at features which are directly useful to our customers and which are used on a day-to-day basis. That includes up-to-date authentication mechanisms and network protocols, as well as latest kernel updates and security patches. In order to hold ourselves accountable and provide assurances to our customers, are we heavily involved in certification processes. That includes SOC 2 Type 2, which we achieved earlier this year, as well as many other industry best practices and processes which we are implementing as part of a continuous improvement cycle. As part of the last layer, are we looking at third-party integrations and enabling customers to use the best-of-breed security products which they already employ in their enterprise. As mentioned before, earlier this year we achieved SOC 2 Type 2 certification. So why is it so important to enterprises and customers to select a vendor who has such a certification? SOC 2 Type 2 provides end customers and enterprises with an insight in the processes and procedures which we apply to our internal security, availability of the products, process integrity, confidentiality, and the privacy of customer data. That provides the enterprise with assurances and confidence in ZPE systems as part of their supply chain, as all of the information provided as part of the report are third-party verified and validated. Besides SOC 2 Type 2, have we multiple other certifications, which you can see here on the screen. These include FIPS 140-3, which we achieved last year, as well as FirstNet and PCI compliant certifications. You can get more information about these certifications through our webpage. As part of our continuous improvement around security on the software side, as well as bug fixes, are we providing monthly updates to our customers. The main functionality of that is not necessarily to provide new features to our customers, but to provide them with the latest security and kernel updates. As you can see on the screen, every single release typically contains one or multiple CVEs, most commonly in very common open source software packages where vulnerabilities have been detected in the industry and where the expectation is high that these might be exploited by attackers. Specifically for enterprises operating in secure or very secure environments, it is important that every single vulnerability gets patched as soon as possible. To enable our customers to achieve this, can they expect in each monthly release the most current security updates and bug fixes? We will release new features specifically in non-LTS versions. And customers can get notified about new releases via our Loop newsletter, which they can directly subscribe from here. The firmware is then available either via ZPE Cloud or through our file share service, which requires a dedicated customer account. As a last point in this section, I wanted to highlight a couple of the partner solutions which our customers are using together with the Nodegrid platform, and which allow them to use the best-in-breed security solutions together with Nodegrid solutions. Examples are CyberArk and Elenia, both which are providing protection for privileged accounts with enterprise-grade privilege access management solutions, Cloudflare, an SSE solution provider which provides zero trust access to our branch and edge locations, as well as Horizon 3, which provides an automated penetration testing solution which natively runs on a Nodegrid and provides penetration testing capabilities to remote locations. As part of this next section, I will going to look at a couple of the enhancements which we introduced in the latest Nodegrid releases. We introduced multi-factor authentication using TOTP or time-based one-time passwords in all of our Nodegrid solutions. TOTP provides customers with a second level of authentication for all user accounts. This includes local accounts as well as existing single sign-up accounts using Okta, Duo Ping ID or ADFS. TOTP is supported by a wide range of applications, including Google Authenticator, Okta Verify, Microsoft Authenticator, and many more. Multi-factor can be enabled per an individual user or administrators can enforce MFA for all users. Additionally to MFA, did we update our single sign-on login process. Up until right now, customers had to go to either Nodegrid OS or ZPE Cloud, provide their email address, and then they would be authenticated using the single sign-on provider. With the new IDP-initiated single sign-on process, users can now directly log into ZPE Cloud or Nodegrid OS using the single sign-on app, greatly simplifying the authentication flows for end users, but still allowing both authentication flows in case an end user directly wants to go first to ZPE Cloud or Nodegrid OS, provide his email address and log in this way. Important to note is that there is a configuration change required, which enables this new functionality. You can find this information in our documentation. In ZPE Cloud, did we introduce an update to the device details page. We improved the visibility and accessibility of device-specific information, like the device status. The new diagram now clearly shows when the device was online, offline, or in failover mode. Additionally to this, the device-specific information are visible. Customers have direct access to jobs and event notifications, as well as adding options to directly connect to a target device, and thus providing all the device-specific details in a single page. Nodegrid OS received multiple updates over the last couple of months. One area of focus was to improve the current status information which we are providing to our customers. This included improved hostname and device model presentation in the UI, as well as showing more information in our tracking section, including improvements to the DHCP lease informations, wireless modem information, including a new diagnostic tool, which helps customers to troubleshoot potential LTE connectivity issues, as well as additional firewall information and ZPE Cloud connectivity details. We improved as well the performance of the Nodegrid appliances, specifically in environments where customers manage over 1,000 devices per single node. Lastly, did we massively improve our upgrade process. We reduced the overall image size by 20% and enhanced the reliability of the upgrade process. As the last point in this section, would I like to outline the changes to the legacy device support. Up until right now, Nodegrid OS was able to run Java applets natively on the Nodegrid appliance. This was specifically required for older devices like ILO3s or Raritan KVM switches. We had to remove this native support from Nodegrid OS due to security concerns, which impacted all of our customers. For existing customers who still require the support of Java applets, we offer now an option to download a Docker container which can be natively installed on the Nodegrid OS and which will provide the same functionality as before without impacting any other customers. Many enterprise customers today struggle to manage and operate their production environments. This is mainly due to resource constraints, to large-scale deployments, to a growing number of required changes and updates. Automation can be a solution to these challenges. It offers many benefits, including optimized deployments and configuration management to a customer's environment. Nodegrid OS supports many different automation capabilities, including a rich set of available APIs and automation tool support which can be natively leveraged with the platform. These include RESTful APIs, gRPC, as well as Ansible and many others. This provides customers with the benefit of being able to reuse existing workflows and tools, which they already use in their operations today, for Nodegrid management. They can use existing configurations and scripts to manage the Nodegrid appliances as well as attach target devices. This simplifies deployments and makes them repeatable. To speed up the onboarding of Nodegrid into existing automation tools, are we providing an ever-growing number of ready-to-go examples which are designed for Ansible as well as Salt These cover the most common use cases, and we are always open to feedback from our customers to develop new examples. Let me give you one instance where customers are using a source of truth to configure their Nodegrid appliances. Many enterprise customers using Netbox as a source of truth. It allows them to maintain the configuration of all their devices in a single place. Netbox natively integrates well with many different automation tools, including Ansible. Nodegrid's central management feature utilizes Ansible as a core component. This allowed the customer to integrate Netbox as an inventory source for the central management capability and to use the configurations which are stored in Netbox to perform changes on the Nodegrid appliance, including enabling and disabling of serial ports, changing authentication settings, host names, and many other configuration items, as well as changes to connected target devices, which included configuration changes, backups, as well as firmware updates and restores. The benefit to the customer was a more consistent configuration across their entire Nodegrid estate. It simplified the operations as it allowed more users to consistently perform changes on all of their end devices, while using a well-established tool which the organization was using already for quite a while. You can find more technical information about this example, as well as many others, in our reference guide section on docs.zpesystems.com. With the introduction of the VSR and XSR earlier this year, do we expand the portfolio of the Nodegrid platform to 2 new environments, providing our customers with more flexibility and a wider range of possibilities to explore the isolated management infrastructure. VSR stands for Virtual Service Router, and with its introduction are we expanding the Nodegrid OS capabilities to run on different hypervisors, from on-prem environments like ESXi and Linux to GCP as well as AWS. The VSR is supported with version 5.10 and 5.8 and is really easy to deploy for our customers. It provides many different benefits. It opens up the capability of creating a unified out-of-band infrastructure. It provides capabilities to centralize access and control for the IMI infrastructure, as well as expanding the management capabilities to your public cloud infrastructure as a bastion host. It supports the same level of feature sets which customers would be used to from our Nodegrid hardware appliances. It provides a rich set of overlay protocols, including IPsec, WireGuard, OpenVPN, Zero-Tier or Tailscale, and it enables many different site-to-site and user-to-cloud connectivity options. Let me explain 2 of these use cases in a little bit more detail. Typically, when new teams or companies start with public cloud infrastructure, they would create a VPC, create the resources inside the public subnet. The default method to access those resources is through a direct SSH connection from the laptop or from their workstation, requiring a direct connection from your laptop to the public cloud infrastructure using an open port in the VPC. While this is convenient, specifically in the beginning, does it open up the company to multiple attack vectors? For one, if the SSH key gets compromised, anybody who has access to that SSH key will have access to all the resources in the VPC. Secondly, that means that the VPC has a publicly reachable IP address with an open port, which is easily scanned, identified, and potentially compromised. The recommendation from many cloud providers is therefore to deploy a bastion host or to deploy a zero trust solution. In many cases, deploying a bastion host is a far easier option. The VSR can act as a bastion host and gets deployed in your public subnet. And only through the VSR can administrators gain access to the resources in the private subnet. This is very similar to an isolated management infrastructure. To further protect the VPC, you can combine the deployment of a VSR who will act as a bastion host with ZPE Cloud. That will prevent the requirement to have an open public port, as the VSR will actively communicate to ZPE Cloud and requires an egress-only NAT gateway. Administrators can then directly connect to ZPE Cloud using the normal browser and through ZPE Cloud gain access to all their instances. This not only eliminates the requirement for an open port on the VPC and thus completely hides the VPC from the public internet, it provides the added advantage that any access to any of the target devices gets fully locked and controlled through ZPE Cloud, which can be tightly integrated into your single sign-on environment. The second use case expands the bastion host use case to include your hybrid infrastructure, meaning your co-location sites, your data centers, your branch and your edge locations. You would deploy again a VSR as a bastion host or central access system in your VPC. You would utilize the overlay network capabilities built into Nodegrid OS to provide a secure connection to your isolated management infrastructure, which would be located in your physical locations. Remote administrators would gain access to this environment using the isolated management infrastructure provided through ZPE Cloud, protecting the entire environment from direct internet access and enforcing your company regulations and fully integrate the solution into your single sign-on provider. The added benefit is for customers that they can utilize a single solution not only to gain access and manage infrastructure devices in the physical locations, but expanding this now to public cloud environments as well, eliminating the need for multiple tools and simplifying your security posture and your compliance needs. As a short summary, the VSR can be deployed in Google Cloud Platform GCP or Amazon Web Services AWS. It can be deployed in multiple tier sizes, which all require a dedicated license. If you want to use the VSR together with ZPE Cloud, then it's important that these instances support TPM. Together with the VSR, did we as well introduce the capability of installing Nodegrid OS on an Equinox bare metal environment. This offers customers with a unique opportunity to create a unified out-of-band infrastructure or centralized access and control infrastructure, which isn't wholly dependent on either on-prem solutions or public cloud environments. And it provides customers with more control over the hypervisor and the deployment while utilizing an infrastructure as a service offering. The deployment is supported with Nodegrid 5.10 and supports Equinox Metal Service instances C3 small as well as medium. To better explain the benefits of this specific deployment model and to differentiate it from the VSR hybrid infrastructure model which we have seen earlier, let me explain this in a specific example. Remote administrators will gain access to the overall environment using ZPE Cloud. The XSR is deployed in Equinox Metal on a physical server. The XSR will automatically connect to ZPE Cloud and provide an isolated management infrastructure. This fully avoids the need to have any open ports from the XSR to the public internet and protects the entire environment. Downstream, will the XSR connect either to your public cloud instances using an Equinox Direct Connect, or it will use its built-in overlay network capabilities to connect to on-prem locations, like co-locations, branch, or edge locations, which in itself will have an isolated management infrastructure. So far, it's a solution very similar to the VSR which we have seen a little bit earlier on. The key differentiator is that the XSR is deployed as an infrastructure as a service offering inside a co-location, in this case Equinox. This provides the customer with multiple advantages. They can deploy the NFV solutions of their own choosing. This can include next-gen firewalls from Palo Alto, Fortinet, or many others, as well as monitoring solutions, automation solutions, or any other management tool they might require, independent if these tools are supported by the public cloud infrastructure or by hosting them in their on-prem data center. Combining the security and control of a colo provider with the flexibility of a cloud provider. You can deploy an XSR today on Equinox Metal using either a C3 small or C3 medium instance. The unit will require a subscription license. Overall offer the VSR and XSR two great new ways of deploying the Nodegrid platform in entirely new environments, providing customers with more flexibility and the ability to really deploy an isolated management infrastructure, utilizing existing infrastructure or public cloud services. At this point, I want to thank you and that you stayed with me for the video. If you enjoyed this video, or if you want to see some of our other videos, please take a look at our video gallery. And again, thank you.